What's up, everybody? You're very welcome along to this Arsenal preview podcast. My name is Craig, and as always, I'm joined by two absolute superstars. Mr. Henry first from Germany. How are you, sir?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm good as always, buddy. I don't know where the summer's gone. I don't know. We need to report this to somebody or who. Where I didn't get the memo. The sun's after disappearing here in Ireland since I've come home from holidays.
Oh, really? It's beautiful here. So,
yeah.
Not to rub it in. Yeah.
No bragging. No bragging.
No, not at all.
Mate, I've so much I want to talk to you about as this pod goes on, little bits and pieces. I know it's an Arsenal preview, but you being based in Germany, I have a few things I want to run by you as always.
Yeah, no worries.
Brian Morrissey, sir, from the beautiful county of Waterford, the Dacia. How are you, sir?
Well, yeah, I'm very, very good. Thanks for having me on again.
Mate, you're part of the familia at this point. You've no choice. It's in your contract. Read the small print.
Yeah, I'm a stopgap. We all know it. Come on.
Mate, we love you. We love you. You need to get that through your head. You're one of us now, whether you like it or not. Look, gents, big game coming up on Saturday. The chat's starting to fill up as well. Thank you all for coming in. Just a reminder that after the podcast, we'll be doing the late night agenda as well. So just give us 10 or 15 minutes for a turnaround. So much to get through. Let me open up my notes and see where the hell we are. 1 second. Right. Team selection, Dave. Let's start with this one, buddy. I put up a team selection today on Twitter, and basically the back four, it comes down to whether you want Matip or Gomez. So what are your thoughts on that?
I'd have Gomez. I haven't seen your team selection, by the way, but I'd have Gomez for the simple reason, recovery pace, and he's a lot quicker than Matip as well.
Well, you see, I didn't want to taint you with my team selection. I wanted to get through yourself and Brian first and see if we had any disagreements or agreements on who should be playing where. What about you, Brian, for centre back, Matip or Van Dijk, or Matip or Gomez? Excuse me.
Well, it'd be Matip, but for the reasons of just probably going further, I'd play Gomez at right back. I think he will play Gomez at right back.
Oh, don't do that to me. Don't do that to me, Brian. I was hoping, I was saying to myself, there's no way he's going to do it. He's not going to play Gomez at right back after the previous occasion. And I know he does it in the big games. I know it's definitely something that he does do. So you generally think that's what's going to happen here?
Yeah, I think because it's a byproduct of the way that Emery does things, because he's not consistent in his team selection, and that leads to some people saying he doesn't know his best team, but also we have to kind of second guess him a lot. So I think he's kind of got Klopp in a bit of not in a bind, but Klopp will be thinking long and hard about what he might be doing, because you could pick our team to a degree, but you can't really always pick their team. So you don't exactly know what he's going to be going up against if you pick X or Y player. You don't really know for sure, because he's dropped Aubameyang for...
I swear to God, you say Aubameyang one more time and I'm going to get in my car and drive to Waterford, mate.
Aubameyang?
Just call him Oba.
Aubameyang, okay. Well, I just think Aubameyang, okay, that'll kind of decide if he knew he was playing or not. And I think he's got something. He's a poor record against the top six. He's got 3 goals in 13 games. I think he might drop him or Lacazette. So I just think Klopp might gamble a little bit, but I'm probably wrong. It's probably just going to be Trent, Gomez, Van Dijk, and Robertson. So that's what if I was going that way, just go Gomez in the middle.
I'm looking at the chat here and I'm looking at what people are saying, and there does seem to be a real divide, even on Twitter, Dave. I mean, the back four I went with was Trent at right back, Gomez and Van Dijk, and then Robertson at left back, obviously Adrian in goal. And the reason, Dave, I went with Gomez, it's not because I don't rate Matip, it's not because I don't think he's been excellent. It was purely a pace thing, and with that Arsenal attack and us playing a high line, I just wondered if the pace of Gomez would be a bit more beneficial, but it is a tough call.
It's a very tough call because, look, Matip, he's been really good, but again, we've seen the old Matip come back in a few games there as well, just in spells where he looks like a donkey on ice. And I like Matip. I think, in last season, arguably the last 10, 15 games, he was arguably better than Van Dijk. He was sensational. But I'd have Gomez for the simple reason, as you mentioned there, recovery pace and his just actual overall pace can deal with the likes of... Look, we don't know if Nicolas Pepe is going to start. Apparently, he's a bit of a speed merchant as well. But the guy up front, Aubameyang, Aubameyang, whatever you want to call him.
Boom boom. Let's just call him Boom Boom from now on.
Mr. Boom Boom. Yeah, he's lit with pace. So look, Brian's right. There is going to be selection headaches for both managers. Emery has an awful record against us. Long may that continue.
It's great, isn't it?
It's brilliant, yeah. And as I said, long may it continue. But Brian does make a good point, because Klopp doesn't really know does he really know how Nicolas Pepe is gonna suppose fare out, and what's his best kind of strategy against him, things like that. He'll know Boom Boom well from his Dortmund days, so there's no problem there. But I'd have Gomez just because of the pace.
Couple of comments from the chat. Tom Jones reckons Matip is the new Sami Hyypiä, which is high praise indeed for that centre back. Brian, this leads me into something I wanted to talk to you about. Gaz, you'll never walk alone, said Gomez is not a right back, and I want to know, Brian, why Jurgen Klopp in some of the big games does go for Gomez at right back over Trent Alexander-Arnold.
I don't think it's that clear cut to say Gomez is not a right back. Gomez can play right back. He broke into the team at left back. He is a centre back. That is his preferred position. But he can also play at right back if you want a defensive right back. So I think it just comes down to the fact that, as good as Alexander-Arnold is, and he's one of the best in the world, especially for his age, like what he's achieved is fantastic. But there's no he isn't the world's most complete defender. He does all his damage up top, and most of the time, most teams don't really get at us that much. So if you want just an out and out defender in there, then you just say, well, yeah, I'll sacrifice what Alexander-Arnold gives us going forward, and just put someone in there and just go, we're shutting down that side. It's just, if that's where if you come up against a team and their number one guy is going to be attacking your right back, and he's Messi, he's Ronaldo, he's whatever, and just go, look, we just got to shut down that side. I think it really is that simple. And hey, look, there's rotation issues as well. Trent is 20. We can't burn this kid out. You can't win every single game.
Are you expecting Emery to go with Lacazette through the centre and Boom Boom down the wide areas, and that maybe that's why some people are thinking about having Gomez or right back?
I don't think he'll play that front three. I don't think he'll play the front three that everyone expects them kind of in a couple of months' time to be destroying teams with Aubameyang, Lacazette and Pepe. They will be their front three at some point. But he changes. He likes to change. He likes to chop and change. He likes to keep opposition managers guessing. So I think in a big game away at Liverpool, he'll probably go that little bit more defensive. And like I said, Lacazette tends to get the nod a little bit more in the top 6 games, because who has 3 and 13. He can disappear a little bit in those games. So I think one of those will be on the bench. One of Lacazette or Aubameyang will be on the bench. That's what I think.
I was looking earlier on, Dave, at I think it was Charlie Nicolas. He was given his prediction for the game. He was given his prediction for the starting lineup as well. And he seemed to be thinking along the lines of Lacazette up front, and then Dani Ceballos just behind, and then Aubameyang on one side, Pepe on the other side, and was it Guendouzi and I don't know if he went for Torreira in the midfield. And the midfield for me is vitally important in this game, Dave. And they do have Xhaka fit and available. Whether he starts or not, I don't know. But who would you match up there in that midfield for the Reds?
So hold on, you're going kind of like 3 behind Lacazette,
I think he was going with a 4-2-3-1 formation with Lacazette up top, and then Aubameyang left hand side, Ceballos just in the centre behind, and I think he was going with Pepe on the right hand side, and then I think it was Guendouzi and Torreira, I think, with the 2 midfield options he was aiming for. So it looks like a holding 2.
Yeah, I think Guendouzi will start. I think Xhaka will start though ahead of Torreira. That's just my opinion, but I agree with you with Sabella. Sorry. I think he'll definitely be starting. He was absolutely brilliant against Burnley. But my midfield 3 for the Reds on Saturday evening, I'll probably get shot for this as well, but this is why I go for and I'll give my reason why would be Milner, Fabinho and Henderson. I think obviously Fabinho anchoring the midfield, kind of Henderson pushing up that bit forward, and then Milner just being Milner. The guy's just... he's just unbelievable. He just has so much energy, so much. He gives so much to that midfield as well. And this Arsenal midfield as well, if you put the boot into them, they do tend to drop back. Even, Guendouzi, Xhaka can give it, but, he can't really take it, that kind of thing, if you know what I mean. And that's why I'd have Milner in there, just a bit of shithousery and just being a pig in the midfield, to be honest with you.
It is. This is the area, Brian, week in and week out for me, mate, that I have a headache. And in a good way, trying to figure out Liverpool's midfield. What I went with, and then I'll come over to you for yours, was I went similar to Dave. The only difference was I hadn't got Milner in. I went with Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain because I wanted us to have that attacking threat. It's against his former club. He's just signed a new contract with the club. That was announced today. Congratulations to him. But other people have gone with Gini. So I kind of want to see what your way of thinking is for the midfield three.
Same as you. I'd love him to go with the ones you want. Fabinho, Henderson and Chamberlain. But again, because he won't be exactly sure, I think he'll go with Gini. It'll be Henderson, Fabinho and Gini. I can see where Dave is coming from with Milner. I think maybe Milner excuse me, has just tipped over that little bit now to being ready to come on, being ready to do things, as opposed to starting the bigger games like last year. It was like, well, he'll do the Champions League final. It'll be Henderson, Milner, and Wijnaldum, before Fabinho was settled in. And I think it's just slowly, incrementally, Milner will play less, but he'll be super ready all the time. And I think Klopp would love to go with Chamberlain and the two. I think we're all agreed on Hendo and Fabinho. They're definitely going to start because they're both for the rest. And it's just any one then. It is. But this Klopp likes to rotate. It's not a thing, I can't figure it out every week. He'll rotate every week. That's where he likes to settle back four and settle front three and then just move it around in the middle.
He also likes players, Brian.
Sorry, I think he'll do Chamberlain. I think I'm gonna go with it. I think it'll be Chamberlain.
That's what I was coming towards. He likes players, Dave, that are in a rhythm as well. He keeps talking about rhythm when we hear Jurgen Klopp. And Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain played against Chelsea. Granted, he played in the left side of a front three. Wasn't very effective. But against Southampton, he played through the centre in midfield. Still not his best performance, but he's working his way back. I've seen more progression. And with the buzz around the new contract and that as well, I don't know. I love Gini, and I'd have no issues with him playing. But for me, I just see Chamberlain getting the nod.
I think you said it there, Craig, and you kind of answered your own question, if I'm honest with you. You said progression. The midfield that starts against Arsenal can have players who are just coming on for progression. They need to be 100% there. Also, with the new contract and things like that, you got to think about it as well. And I know it could be a very sentimental thing to say, but having a player like Ox coming off the bench, let's say the game is, we're 2-1 up, or maybe it's 1-1 or something like that, and he gets that round of applause from the Kop. Do you know what I mean? A standing ovation. He's just signed a new contract. He came out with a lovely statement what it means to him as well. That's going to give that player then coming off the bench an extra 5-10%. And that could have a real impact on the game as well. But the reason why I don't think Chamberlain starts, even though he was a lot better in Southampton, albeit he was playing in the midfield three instead against Chelsea when he was up the top, is the progression. He's still not there. Arsenal are too big of a team to be having players who are progressing. They need players who are 100% fit, rhythm or not.
A couple of comments from the chat. Domestic Butler said I wouldn't play Milner at home, in home games, I should say. Stephen Booker said bring Gini on from the bench. A lot of people asking as well, Darren Calvin, why is Gini getting overlooked? Are we being harsh here, Brian, or am I being harsh? You did mention Gini. Am I being harsh overlooking him?
No, I don't think anyone has overlooked him at all. He's a very important player, but like I just said, there's going to be rotation in the midfield. That's the way Klopp has the team set up. That the defence is, on any given Sunday, Alisson, Trent, Robbo, Gomez and Van Dijk, and the three boys up top. And then he likes to go, okay, well, it's a different type of game, so I don't need him here, don't need him there. I can bring in a more free-spirited player, a more attack-minded player. That's where he likes, and I think that's now getting pared down to, well, Fabinho will start every game. Henderson will start every game. So I'll rotate that third midfield player. Now, I think just with what Dave was saying, I'd go against what Dave was saying, but just in a different way of thinking. With Chamberlain, Arsenal are so flaky in midfield and at the back that the time to beat Arsenal is early. In my mind, it's to just destroy them as quickly as possible and as soon as possible. Excuse me. And I think Chamberlain coming on full of energy, full of everything, comes on, does his stuff, almost kind of like the opposite to what Dave is saying, as opposed to coming on to a stand ovation, going off to a stand ovation, having banked one into the top corner in a 4-1, and use it that way, use the rhythm that way. I think there is validity to the rhythm argument, and it will be different for every single player. And Klopp will know, no, it's too much to start him again, or Klopp will know, if I don't start him now. Klopp's a psychologist. If I don't start him now, he'll go, oh, what the hell is that? I was flying and you just stopped me right in my tracks. So I think a player like Miller and Gini can be prepared to sit on the bench and go, hey, look, that's just a game. But Ox is flying, so maybe give him the shout.
Liz Golden said, trying to pick from that many midfielders is a good problem to have. Liz, totally agree with you. Another important factor here, Dave, is, and this is another reason why I went for Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, is we've a full week in between games. He has a full week on the training ground to get these boys recovered, to get them working their tactical stuff and ready for Saturday.
You've literally just took the words out of my mouth, Craig. That's gospel. Liverpool are a very, very dangerous team when they have a full week of training with Klopp. A very dangerous team. What Klopp can do, and we even seen it. The first time I seen that with Klopp is, remember when we beat City, was it 4-1 at their place in his first season in charge, when he had that full week with the team for the first time? You see that now when Klopp has a full week uninterrupted. We've seen it when he was in Evian, when we played Lyon, that difference, and then from Napoli until we played the Community Shield. We're a different beast. And you're right, like Brian made some really good points regarding Ox. I just think with Ox, I don't think Ox can have too many complaints. The club have just given him a long-term agreement after him being a huge amount of time out, let's say 16 months out or something like that, since the Roma to today or whatever it is. I'm thinking about the Arsenal team as well, Craig. I think their backline would be Maitland-Niles, Luiz, Sokratis and Monreal. It's a piss poor. Like, I don't rate David Luiz. He gives a bit of leadership, but Stevie Wonder could direct that back line a bit better, to be perfectly honest with you. I think the way Rob will bomb on our left, obviously there, right? That's why we kind of need a bit of cover, and that's why we kind of need that Milner he sweeps in there as well, just in case there is a counter-attack.
Yeah, I hear where you're coming from, and you've kind of led me nicely into the next topic I wanted to talk about. Brian, I want to have a little chat about Arsenal, and I want to know, have they really improved that much over the summer? So they brought in players like Ceballos, Tierney, who's not available yet, Pepe, Luiz. They brought in the young centre-back who they've loaned back, and I may have missed one as well. But overall, mate, do you think this is a different Arsenal from last season, or do you expect... I'm being honest, I hate sounding so arrogant, but I cannot see anything other than us steamrolling them and getting these 3 points.
Well, in terms of have they improved by their signings? Well, they couldn't get much worse, could they?
Yeah.
Where are you going to go? I think they are. I'd rate Luiz higher than you do. I think he's excellent. From what I've read, he is superb behind the scenes. He is world class in the dressing room. And Arsenal have now, as much as people might laugh at the idea, he is a bit of a leader behind the scenes because he plays a character. Now, you don't want him playing that character on the pitch, but he gets a bit of especially in England. All the players that have played him, young players look up to him. He's an amazing example to young kids by all accounts. He's brilliant with them. And Arsenal need things like that. And he's better than Mustafi. He's better than Koscielny, who's 33 and couldn't wait to get out of there. So, I think they've improved the back line a little bit. I think, Dave's right. Like tomorrow, their back line, talking to Billy last night, that'll be one of their first choice back four. It'll be their first choice back four will be Tierney, Bellerin, Luis and Holding. They rate Holding above everyone else. So you've only got Luis out of that starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
Further up, Danny Caballos is a great player. He's a wonderful footballer. He's a superstar in the making, but he has no intentions of hanging around. So he's not signing. No, he wants to do it for Real Madrid. Now, all they can hope for is that he has an excellent season for them, and he makes such an impression on them, and they make such an impression on him that they get the first choice if Real do want to sell him. Pepe could be another superstar, or he could be just a decent player, but I think it will be the former, to be honest. I think that guy's got everything. Kieran Tierney, excellent left back, brilliant signing. I think Arsenal have done really, really good business, and I think they've definitely improved, but I don't think it's going to help them tomorrow. I'm like you. We should completely and utterly dominate them tomorrow.
Saturday.
Saturday.
And for you, Dave, do you think the same? Do you think that there is any improvement from Arsenal? Are you impressed by the signings in the summer? Granted, Tierney isn't available, as we said. Pepe still settling in. Luis, he is established. Premier League, he's played. Whatever we think about him, he's played a lot of games.
Won the European Cup. He's won Premier Leagues.
Yeah.
UEFA Cup. Or well,
you don't do that for nothing, you know.
I said UEFA Cup. Show my age there. The Europa League.
No, UEFA Cup is good, mate. Look, I'm not. For me, look, David Luiz, Alberto Moreno was a great character around the dressing room. You know, that kind of thing. Look, he's not a bad defender. Is he world class? No, he's not. And that's just my opinion. I've seen him being shown up a lot of times by not even world class strikers. I think the best signing they made, and it is unfortunate for Arsenal that he's injured, but fortunately for us is Kieran Tierney. I think he's absolutely brilliant. I think he's a really, really good left back. His only issue is that he is the best left back in the world in front of him in Scotland, so that's unlucky for Kieran. But
unlucky.
Exactly. Pepe, look, I've only seen the lad play a couple of times, but it's a serious clout of money, so he must be doing something right. But to get him in midfield from Real Madrid, his name is Caballos, sorry. He's going to have a lot to prove. Brian's bang on the money there. He's going to have a lot to prove. I don't know, have Arsenal got an option to buy after this, but he'll be looking to prove.
No.
They don't? Okay, well, he's going to be looking to prove himself in the best league in the world. And from what I've seen him, no disrespect to Burnley, but there's better teams than them. He was sensational against Burnley. He really was. He was just everything that Arsenal needed. Have they improved? Of course they have, yeah, because you couldn't get any worse than Arsenal, kind of like in games last season. They were absolute dog shit.
On Pepe, Brian, I want to get your opinion on this, because Liverpool fans in particular have been a little bit upset about missing out on Nicolas Pepe. Some of them. Arsenal fans and other clubs' fans have been a little bit mixed on how they view him. But what I have noticed a trend with is any pundits that they talk to. And look, you could take your opinion on pundits with a pinch of salt, but anybody's whose opinion I've listened to on Nicolas Pepe seems to suggest there's a reason he ended up at Arsenal. There's a reason Liverpool didn't go from. There's a reason Madrid didn't go from. Barcelona didn't go from. Bayern Munich didn't go from. In that he isn't there just yet, and that clubs were just unwilling to pay that amount of money and take a risk, whereas Arsenal did. What's your thoughts on Pepe?
That would pretty much sum it up in terms of we were there. We've been in that position where you're the best of the best, the established players, they're just not going. They'll say nice things about Liverpool when you get linked to them in the press, and they won't ever deny wanting to join Liverpool. But when Liverpool weren't in the Champions League, or we weren't doing well in the leagues, we knew these players, they were never going to come to the club. So what you were left doing was trying to buy the guy that's going to turn into the guy that won't join your club. Sebastian Coates, the young player of the year at the top. These guys is like, in 5 years' time he will be this. So you become the club that is prepared to offer the most money for that young player. So you make sure now you're still a big enough club to get him. You look at it and think, yeah, I can go there. If I do well there, then I'll prove myself to Barca, Real, Bayern, whoever it is, PSG. So it's gotten to that stage now where that's what you have to pay for the potential next guy to get him to go there, especially when you're dealing with a club like Lyon. I mean, you know that they were going to wring every last penny out of anyone that took him. He has all the potential in the world, yeah, but if he does realise that potential, then Arsenal won't be able to hang on to him. So they'll get 2 or 3 years out, and I hope he is amazing. I hope he's fantastic. But to like what you're saying about Liverpool fans pissed off that we missed out on Nicolas Pepe, it's not like we were in for him and he chose Arsenal. I mean, you can't lose out on it.
To be fair, there are some people who I've seen that do believe that's the case, and they believe that that's the case not because he was being disrespectful to Liverpool, but because he thought he would get more game time at Arsenal and therefore be able to progress his career quicker.
That's entirely legitimate as well, and that is a compliment to Liverpool when you've got some of the most highly rated, highly talented, most sought after young players in the world turning us down because they're just going, I'm not getting in that team, am I? You know, that's a good place to be. So you can't buy everybody. You know, you just can't. Other teams are going to buy other players that you really like and are class. That's just what happens. It's just as long as we get better ones and we get the ones that Klopp wants. And I'm pretty sure that's what we've been doing all along. I don't think we were going to get into a bid more just because Pepe had a fantastic season last year, throwing £80 million at someone and go, well, so who do you want us to drop then, lads? Mane or Salah? Come on, Liverpool fans, take your pick. You all wanted Pepe. So next question, who's out? You know?
Yeah, no, fair point. Dave, your thoughts on Nicolas Pepe?
I don't know too much about him, mate. I only seen him 3 or 4 times, maybe last season for Lille. I don't really watch the YouTube clips on players because there's no point. You just get the good bits. Yeah, look, I agree with you. I think we were in with them, and I think the game time was a big issue because he's not going to be guaranteed. No one is guaranteed, I suppose, their place. When they come in new to Liverpool, we've seen the likes of Fabinho, how long it took him, the Ox, Andy Robertson. It takes them a long time to get embedded with the team. It's different for Arsenal. He can walk into that team, which he's probably going to do tomorrow. I reckon he starts. From what I've been reading and from what the experts have been saying, he's absolutely sensational, and I think he'll be good for the Premier League. My worry as an Arsenal fan would be if they're not getting Champions League football this season, next season, he's going to get the hump and leave.
Yeah, I just want to circle back around. I just remembered Brian a second ago said that it was Lyon, it was Lille, as Dave pointed out that it came from.
Yeah, I was about to come in myself and say, yeah, sorry, and correct myself there. I said
you're not allowed to make mistakes, Brian. Like that, you will like we're not allowed. Heaven forbid we do say something wrong, mate. You're not allowed. Trust me. You might as well move house now. If you're on any forms of social media, get off them. You've been destroyed now. Your career's over. It happened to me as well, mate. I mean, I made a mistake a couple of weeks ago.
Lies in tatters on the floor.
Yeah, the people forget that you're live and that sometimes your mind's thinking of the next question or you're wandering a little bit ahead and these things happen. But I forgive you, mate. That's all you need to know is I love you and I forgive you.
Okay. Clearly I've been destroyed in the comments. Right, okay.
Connor just said Brian is cancelled. There you go. When Mr. Crosby speaks up, that's it. The other option here, of course, is to just hack into Wikipedia and change it to say that he came from Lyon. We can, of course, try that.
Yeah. Okay, right.
Welcome to live stuff, mate. It's fucking brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. And you know you're in trouble when Crosby decides to pipe up.
Oh, that's it. Giving it Billy Big Bollocks there down in Wexford.
Yeah. He does nothing for 2 days. You make one slip up, he's all over your arse.
Yeah. That's the thing. The boss is watching all the time. You know what I mean?
This from the man. He basically put me a team of Joe Gomez out one day when he was doing my starting 11s. Remember that? Joe Gomez everywhere.
Yeah. Starting up front as well.
There you go. Yeah. There you go. See, and that was forgiven. We let that one go. The internet decided in their infinite wisdom to let Mr. Crosby away with that one. Look, gents, I could sit here taking the piss out of each other all day, but we got to get on and keep talking about the game. A couple of people in the chat, Shay Trainer and a few other people, Dave, are worried about Liverpool's defence. I want to know what your thoughts are on this, because I think it's all been blown up a little bit out of proportion. That's my take on it, but I want to get your thoughts on our defence.
I think any defence that has Virgil van Dijk as a centre back doesn't really have too many worries. I think it shows as well. Look, it was a mistake by Adrian that conceded the goal on Saturday just gone. Look, granted, we were lucky not to concede another with Danny Ings, but I'm not too worried about the defence. When our goalkeeper comes back, Golden Gloves, best defensive record in the Premier League last season. I think, did we not have the best defensive record in Europe last season in all the leagues? I'm not worried. I'm not worried at all. Virgil van Dijk, anyone could come in and partner with that man, and then he'll make them look good. Robertson, arguably, is the best left back in the world. So you have two positions there, centre back and left back, where you have arguably the best players in each position there. No, not worried at all.
Did you not get the memo? The best left back and right back in the world is now Luke Shaw and Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, you haven't gotten that memo from United fans.
I'll check my spam mail.
Yeah, and Harry Maguire is, the best centre back that's ever existed in the history of world football ever.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard he's the most expensive, right, as well. But there you go. Money doesn't always mean anything, does it?
I had to have a little smile today. I can't remember what account it was. Maybe you've seen this, Brian. Put out a tweet basically talking about Trent's crosses and how he's had X amount. I think he's had 12 and 2 have been successful. And they were saying, Aaron Wan-Bissaka's had 5 crosses and I don't know, more of them have been successful. I can't remember the numbers, but Ian Wright just came out and said, look, stop. Just stop this now. One of them has won a Champions League. And one of them is a young man who's still progressing in his career, even though Trent is younger. But he basically came out and said that we've all been saying, look, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, probably going to be a great player, but can we stop this nonsense comparing him to Trent?
Yeah, what really is the point? You can take, it's clear. Just watch football on a week-by-week basis. Just, if you want to know, they're both excellent young players. Just leave it at that. There's no point comparing. They play for different teams, different systems. It's all those things. It's just the English love to. It's just a way of going on about how great their young English players are, really, I suppose.
I get you, and I agree with you. Why can't we just appreciate good footballers at times? There doesn't always have to be a poll to see who's better. We don't always have to jump the gun. Aaron Wan-Bissaka will most likely turn out to be an excellent right back. No doubts about that whatsoever.
There doesn't have to be a winner and a loser in every situation. It doesn't have to be, right, we've come definitively. Alexander is brilliant. Wan-Bissaka is shite. They're both just really class young footballers. Off you.
I can already see the quotes now. Brian Morrissey of the Anfield Agenda says Aaron Wan-Bissaka is shy. Even though it doesn't matter, it was in a different context. That doesn't matter.
Also,
you're finished now. You're cancelled. Definitely cancelled.
I didn't see that tweet because I preemptively went off Twitter because I knew at one point I would make a mistake and my life wouldn't be worth living anymore. So,
You've done it now, mate. It's over. Just enjoy the last few minutes of the pod.
Yeah, it was glorious while it lasted.
Just take it all in. No, you're getting lots of love in the chat, to be fair. A lot of people saying we love you, Brian. A lot of people are in a very forgiving mood tonight, Dave, which is it's good to see. It's not usual.
No, it's not. But you won't want to be sensitive on this, in fairness. But look, that's what we're here for. They can cut us to pieces. We're tough-skinned. Don't worry about it.
Look, as we said from day one, Mr. Henry, we are but fans. We are not experts.
Exactly. What do we know?
Brian, I didn't actually get your thoughts on our defensive woes or lack of defensive woes. What are your thoughts on that, mate?
Okay, yeah, I suppose it's pretty obvious. Like, Alisson isn't playing. That's, so put him in there, and if we're still having these risks, I think it's like I'm very much with Dave on this. Like, it's not like Pookie scores 30 goals this season and next season he hasn't scored in his first 3 and everyone's going, oh Christ, was that just a one-off and now Chelsea are after going and buying him or something. Like, this back four doesn't go from what it was doing last year to just being a shambles overnight. Yeah, there's issues. Of course there's issues. Someone made a great point on one of the pods. I said, like, the muscle memory of turning and playing a ball back to Alisson is still in some of those footballers at the moment. And they have to remember, it's not Alisson, it's Adrian.
Exactly.
They're turning their playing balls back to a different goalkeeper. I have a picture in my head of the weekend of like us winning 5-1 and the goal we concede is someone not realising, just passing it back to Adrian. He fumbles it, someone kicks one in like at the weekend. I can actually see that exact thing happening again.
You're on a fucking roll here tonight, mate. You're on a roll.
Yeah, there must be something. Yeah, there must be something to do with the midfield, the shape, and all of that. Like, the fullbacks were criticised against Norwich for not really being overly interested in tracking players. It seems like they were switched off a little bit. I just think it's that the gears will come back together, and the centre back situation will settle down. Alisson will come back. Yeah, we might not be the clean sheet machine that we were for the first 6 or 7 games, but it's you don't, like I said, you don't go from what we were last year to all of a sudden overnight not being able to keep a clean sheet in any game. It'll come back. I'm not at all worried. Concerned about what's happening now, yes, but not worried long term at all.
I have to say, I really do enjoy listening to your analysis, and I have the pleasure of talking to you about football off streams as well. And I love when you go in depth like that, little details like tracking back against Norwich. And I also thought, Brian, against Norwich, a lot of people didn't give Norwich credit for the decent attacking side that they are.
Yeah, they're excellent. They've got an excellent manager. They've got the right way of playing. They've got the right idea of just doing their thing, attacking teams, and using their strengths and not abandoning what got them to where they are just because we're in the Premier League now, we have to go 5-4-1. There are more teams playing like that. Yeah, I admire Norwich, and I hope they stay up, because that's some guy. I think in what are we talking now? 2 or 3 years, Daniel Farke at Norwich will be fire manager, or he'll be one of those type of managers. So they're one to keep an eye on, to watch.
Right, gents, I got to steer this towards a close, but I want to get a couple of things. I want to get a prediction from both of you, and then I've got a couple of quick fire questions for Mr. Henry, who's based in Germany, as I keep reminding people. Brian, while I'm with you, mate, give me a prediction for the game on Saturday. What's your score?
4-1 home win.
I like it. I can get on that ship. Yeah, I think we can say there's going to be goals in this game if the records are written to go by. And Mr. Henry, for you, what's your score prediction?
3-1 Liverpool.
I like it. I can get on board that ship as well. Anything for me, gents. Any win, any 3 points at this point of the season. I don't care about performances yet. They will come. When we talk about rhythm, we talk about... I still think we're playing catch-up, if I'm being honest. I think we had a later season than everybody. A lot of players coming back late because they were successful with their national teams. And look, we weren't on our own with that one. But as I said, I have a couple of questions before I let you go, Dave. And I want to ask you a couple of things around Germany. So, Kai Havertz. That's a name that has been doing the rounds a lot in the last couple of days. My understanding of it from previous months was that he was almost nailed on to join Bayern Munich.
Bayern Munich, where they've been linked with, Jesus Christ, every possible winger number 10 you can imagine. They were linked to them. I think he didn't want to go. I think he wanted to stay at Leverkusen last season for another season, being at this season. Then they went in for Sané. That deal was pretty much done, and it was pretty much done. I think, from what I heard over here, that Bayern Munich asked Pep Guardiola and Man City not to play him against us in the Charity Shield, but it's not up to Bayern to say that. He's still a City player, so I can understand why he did play. And Coutinho then happened because, look, he is where he is. But Havertz is an unbelievably good player. What I think might happen is this. Sancho has just signed a new deal with Dortmund. Signed it yesterday. Was it yesterday? 170 grand a week, including bonuses. I think they're looking to, obviously, Dortmund are looking to tie up their asset in Sancho and obviously try to make as much money from him next season, because Sancho's English. He's going to inevitably land back in the Premier League. And I think if that happens, Havertz will end up at Dortmund.
Oh, big show. I have a feeling that that there's something coming for us big next season. I don't know what it is, whether it's Havertz, whether it's Sancho, whether it's, being really dreamy Mbappe. But staying at Bayer Leverkusen, Dave, one more thing. Degzy Lovren, linked with a potential loan move over there to Germany. What's the German media saying about that?
Yeah, it's not a loan move. It will be a permanent move. Liverpool have already rejected Roma's loan move. Lovren won't be going out on loan. Liverpool will be looking to cash in. And it looks like it was from a good few. It was on Bild, it was on Spiegel, and it was on a couple of other fairly decent outlets that it's Leverkusen that's that's interested in him. So regarding the Havertz thing, maybe that could play into our hands as well. We could do something with Lovren, but we could turn around to Leverkusen and say, look, we might knock down the price and help you a bit, but we want first dibs on Havertz.
I had seen over here a loan fee, and the fee was 3 million, but I wondered, like you've said, Liverpool did turn down the potential of a loan deal to Roma. So it didn't really make sense to me that all of a sudden we'd be willing to allow him to go. So that would make more sense if it was maybe a loan with an agreement in place for a set fee at the end of it. Before I let you go, Brian, I want to get your thoughts, mate, on Dejan Lovren perhaps leaving and where you think that leaves us centre-back wise.
Yeah, I suppose he'll want to go. I think it's got to the stage now where he probably just wants to leave, and it leaves us in a place where you probably get to kick up someone that would have been waiting around. And so, like, do you want to spend another year with Lovren just taking up a fourth choice spot that he doesn't really like, or to spend a year where our fourth choice centre back is Vandenberg, who gets to have that experience? Because Lovren doesn't need another year just playing occasionally in the cups and whatever. Vandenberg playing every cup game and all that'd be huge for him.
Yeah.
So I think it'd make good sense for everybody involved. Any kind of a fee for Lovren is probably. Could I just ask one question though, Dave?
Yeah.
How good is Havertz?
He's very good.
How would you describe him? Well, I've seen a lot of him, but maybe somebody like just what kind of player is he? How good a player is he? What kind of player is he?
He's a very good, pacey, intelligent winger.
He can play central.
He can play central, but whenever I've seen him play, Brian, I've always seen his best games out in the wing. Now that could be left wing or right wing. Very tricky, but very intelligent for his age. That's the huge thing. Really pick out a good pass, but his movement off the ball, his work rate is just absolutely magnificent. A proper Klopp player, if I'm honest with you.
He really excites me.
The phrase I've heard is an excellent Firmino option.
Oh well, yeah.
There you go. But on your Lovren thing there as well, the thing why I do think he'll go as well. I don't know, will it be a loan or will it be a permanent transfer? I'd be leaning to get the lad out of the club permanently. That's nothing bad on Degsy, but you're shifting $100,000 a week there for a first choice defender. It's a lot of money.
It is a lot of money, and gents, we're going to have to bring this one to a close. Time has beaten us yet again. As always, it's been a pleasure catching up with Dave, catching up with Brian. We'd love to know your thoughts if you're watching this on playback in the comments below. Also, if you've enjoyed this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up as well. I'll be back with the lads for a podcast really soon, but we'll also be coming back I'll be back in about 15 minutes with tonight's late night agenda. We'll go through all the day's news. We'll go through my team selection and prediction for the game against Arsenal. Thank you again, Dave. Have a wonderful week, mate, and I hope life treats you well.
Cheers, mate. Thank you very much.
And Mr. Morrissey, jokes aside, it's always a pleasure to have you on, buddy. Your insight always blows me away, so thank you so much for your time again.
Thank you.
And ladies and gents, I will be back very soon with the late night agenda. Until then, up the motherfucking Reds.